Right, Walker? I'm fully me.
Absolutely.
Okay, I think. All right. We are on, folks.
Right, Walker? I'm fully me.
Absolutely.
As I do this, that's me right there. Okay. Open up the chat room. Welcome to Extra Connections. Here on JLJ Media. I'm the JLJ of JLJ Media. And I got 3 people with me. We're going to do some chats, as I do all the time. I do this every year, all the time, throughout the year. Not just because it's Black History Month. You know how I feel about that, folks. But it is Black History Month. So we're going to talk about it also. I invited 3 people that I'm very happy to have on here. I respect and like each of them. And you should be following them. When they give you their deets later at the end of the show, follow these people, follow them. Okay. So I've known him the longest. And he's somebody that I like so much. And he just had a milestone birthday.
Yeah.
He did. He's a social media manager, journalist, been in the business for a long time. And he's a contributor at lovebscott.com. My friend, Walker Ragsdale. Hi, Walker.
Hey. Hello, Mr. James. Thank you for having me as always.
Yes, I love having you on here. So it's great. The next guy is one of the newest people I've met. I've collected along the way. Yes, he is a content creator. He has his show, According to Woods. There is 10,000 episodes, and sometimes they can go from 5 minutes to 5 hours. Wow. But yes, he is talking to everybody. He also, and so it's According to Woods is the name of the show, of course. And he's also on several of my new audio dramas that are coming out soon.
Hey.
Yes, he is. Mr. Adam K. Wood.
Boom. What's good, party people? Glad to be here. Glad to be dark, because it's dark outside and it's dark in here. Right.
And his first time on JLJ Media, we will be popping his cherry, so to speak, his black cherry. There we go. He is a content creator. He's a fellow afterbuzzer like myself.
Facts.
The wrestling side of things while I was doing soap operas. But we did come together because we're Black. He is a content producer. He has a hit show for the Ringer Network on Spotify, so I get it all there. It's called Mack Mania, folks, and I got it. Evan Mack. Hello, Evan Mack.
I appreciate you, man. I'm glad I'm Black enough to make this panel. I appreciate you. My blackness level was, it warms my heart with glee. I'm honestly, in all seriousness, Mr. James Lott Jr., I appreciate the opportunity to come just talk with you for a little bit.
Thank you. I'm glad you guys could do this. Okay, I'm gonna read some names. I'm reading off a list, and I'll tell you why I'm reading this list after I read it. So folks out there, I also want to warn some people, there might be some strong language from me. That may happen. So I'm just letting you know now, if you can't handle it, then that's your problem. Because we are letting it, I'm always real, we're letting it out. But this is my list. I'm gonna read these names and we'll go from there. Michael Jackson, Prince, Grace Jones, Chris Rock, Spike Lee, Alicia Keys, Mariah Carey, Rick James, Robert Townsend, In Living Color, Mad TV, Bill Cosby, Celia Cruz, Amarie, Shonda Rhimes, Maura Lee Simmons, Tyra Banks, John Singleton. Bad Brains, Public Enemy, Al Freeman Jr., Victoria Rowell, Mixed Chicks, The Real Housewives, Lena Horne, Eartha Kitt, Darnell Williams, Ellen Holly, James Reynolds, Christoph St. John, The Wiz, Blackish, The Jeffersons, The Wire, the Reverend Jesse Jackson, President Barack Obama, and Vice President Kamala Harris. When I say those names, they're all Black of sorts, and also challenge in some ways what Blackness is and what it could be and what it can be. Now I'm going to read you another list that has come out recently in the last couple of weeks. Aquafina, Tandy Newton, Whoopi Goldberg, Joe Rogan, The Rock, Mac Lethal, Whitney Cummings, Ted Danson, Howard Stern, The Blackish final season, and Kenya Barris' creator. The character of Trina on General Hospital, the character of Devon on Young and the Restless. Janet Jackson versus Madonna, Trevor Noah. These are names and things I've called recently like turning race from all sides, from cultural appropriation to cultural representation to speaking out on culture to defending Black to not being Black. All kinds of things have been happening recently in the past couple of weeks that have been racially motivated. So I read all that because I think it's crazy to me. I'm 50, I'll be 53 years old in a few months. And I've been talking about race since I was like 5 years old. And it's still a problem for some folks. Not for me, but for some folks, it's a problem. It's still a discussion. So you three Black men who are all younger than I am, obviously, I just want to know, my first question is, are you tired of talking about race?
Fuck yeah.
I mean, it's like, it's something that we just can't seem, we can't escape it. It's just there. And every few months or so, something happens and it pops it up in front of our faces. So I want to say to you, Adam, because I know you are, like myself, mixed race and bi, tri-racial, whatever words you want to use. There's different language for that. So how's it been for you in general?
Well, I kind of lean on what Evan T. Mack was saying about, being Black enough for this panel, because I have been kind of marginalized by my own people, right? Like, I'm not Black enough, what have you. That's something that I've kind of struggled with. I mean, up until, I'd say my 30s. So it's only been like less than a decade, that I was like, oh, it's actually okay to be what the hell you are, right? I can... when I was growing up in Inglewood, Fijian, right? What is Fiji? Oh, it's like the apple. I'm like, no, that's Fuji, wrong island, whatever the fuck. And I just told everyone I was from Canada because I like the Bret Hart and the Owen Hart and all that shit. And I just, one British Commonwealth to another, Fiji to Canada. I was like, what are you talking about? But the fact that I don't have to do that is amazing, right? Now, the names in which you mentioned, right? Obviously, you mentioned Rogan, and he's, been in question, a bit of infamy. To me, he's a guy that I kind of look up to, much like you, James, much like Evan, much like Walker, because you guys, you kind of, like, I'm kind of new to this podcast expression, what have you game, whereas you guys have been doing it for years, right? So you're taking a snippet. And the thing about it is, like, you say things, I say things, Evan says things, we all say things that if you could cut it up into a 90-second whatever of all the bad stuff, it almost negates the however long we've been doing this amount of good that we've been doing, and it's just like, it's weird, I'm kind of jumping around, but Eartha Kitt, best Catwoman ever, better than Halle Berry, right? This hello Batman, like, and the fucking rolling R's, man. She's just amazing, and I one that in pop culture, we look at like Marilyn Monroe and everything, and people have T-shirts and pictures and paintings and whatever. But why not fucking Eartha Kitt? She's just as glamorous, just absolutely as exquisite as feasibly possible, and like, she just doesn't get her play, Same thing with Celia Cruz, right? I mean, bring an Afro-Latina, right? That literally commanded an entire genre of music. It's just fucking phenomenal. I mean, I remember being a kid and like, oh my God, Gloria Estefan got her back broken driving a bus. But that bus was for Celia Cruz. As big a star as Gloria Estefan and the Miami Sound Machine were at that time,
Huge.
late early 90s. Fuck. I mean, she was like, I'm gonna drive with Celia, dude. Like, because Celia's the shit, So yeah, I bounced around a bit, but yeah, I love the fact that we all can come together. Hopefully we don't have a Black History Month. We just have a History Month that George, like a George Washington Carver, a Dr. Cornel West, like so many names get brought up in just woven into history rather than just reverberating that same five names, the Malcolm X's, the maybe Rosa Parks, maybe Martin Luther King's, and what have you.
I think with only pushback I have with that is it's just because we people get away from history and they get too far removed from history. So you do need specific months and specific times and specific dates, because what's going on right now, what's starting to happen, especially in schools, is people are starting to get away from history. You know what I mean? So if we take away Black History Month, then then there's going to be a reason we don't even get to talk about that at all, because it's something to discuss and to have those discussions. Now, to me, it should be every month, of course. But you know what I mean, though. We start doing away with months that are remembering other unsung heroes and prominent figures in the Black community. And that's how we get away from stuff, man. The reason why things are going the way they are now is because schools are trying to get rid of our history, and it's not good, man. Because stuff happened, and we got to talk about it. We got to learn from it. We got to move on, and so I think we still got to talk about it, even though it's much as it pains me that we still got to, and much as race still is a factor, even though it shouldn't be a factor, it is. And I think the only way we can move past it is to talk about it, if that makes sense.
Well, Walker, I mentioned some soap names. I know you knew what I was talking about when I said Darnell Williams and Alan Hall. These are some people don't talk about Al Freeman Jr. I mean, they don't talk about these. I mean, these are in our soap world. So I mean, you and I both are in the soap world in many ways, and been doing it for long. You were aware of it for years. What do you say about kind of stuff like that? I was bringing up some of those names.
I think when you brought up Victoria Rao, I think she will go down in history when people fully realize what a trailblazer she was and how she fought against the machine and a whole network, a whole conglomerate with Sunny Pictures for equality. That's all she wanted. She felt that being on a show that she brought in profits for. I mean, it's it's facts. It's not like, oh, the show went up. No, her demographic, everything shot up when she joined Young and the Restless. And the fact that she worked there all those years and there was never a Black hairdresser, and never a Black makeup artist. And for her to push for asking, hey, why do I have to come in with my hair done every day when everyone else can come here and get it done, at set? Pushing for diversity behind this, behind the scenes. Where's the Black writers? Where are the Black producers? That's stuff. And all that comes back to, like, yes, we're absolutely tired of talking about race, but the way things are going now, they're trying to erase it. And they're trying to, looking back at this past Martin Luther King Day, how the same people who were out there, putting out his speeches and his quotes and stuff, and, oh, this is so great, are the same people who are voting to change laws to keep, the enfranchised and the Black and brown people from voting. It's the same, they've changed history where people now, if you're young growing up now, you probably think Martin Luther King was just this amazing guy that all the white people loved. Everybody loved him. And that's not facts. No. And that's a big part of why they're pushing against that CTR, whatever, critical race theory is because it's uncomfortable. And when that's 100%. And when you give in, and if it's like, okay, well, that makes us uncomfortable, so let's not, like,
it makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, exactly.
But it happened. Yeah. You know what I mean? I don't want to cut you off, but they're like, it makes us uncomfortable. It makes us uncomfortable too, that our people had to endure it. Like, that don't make us any less uneasy. That stuff, I can't watch a movie without that being depicted, without getting emotional. A movie. My people lived it. Like, I cry over film. So, like, I'm sure y'all don't want to deal with it, because I don't even want to think about that happening in this country not that long ago. We're talking about the 60s. My father, his dance was segregated. He's telling me stories. We talking about 400 years ago. My dad's talking about in the 60s and the 70s. You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy.
I'm talking about 1987.
Like, come on now. That's crazy.
You're Black. I'm sorry. If you got a job here, make this place too ghetto. And I got turned down positions. I got turned down. We just don't have any people of color in this company. I was the first Black person in many of my jobs.
Incredible.
Wow. Now it's the 80s. So we're not talking that long ago. I mean, that's the thing. And he said, Victoria Rao, that was the 90s.
Crazy.
I mean, look at the Oscar nomination just came out this week. Four people of color nominated out of everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's funny. It's interesting about that, because the Oscars can't win, because what they do is when it feels like they're pandering and they nominate a whole bunch of people of color, it feels like then the people come out and say they didn't deserve to get this award. Then the ratings were down last year because people thought it was too woke. The most down ratings in the history of the Academy Awards was last year because some people get too preachy and even though some people use the Academy Awards to escape. And then a lot of the celebrities come on and use their platform to be politicians or protesters. So the ratings went down. So I think the Academy panics. So then you come back this year with those low ratings. Don't tell me they didn't recognize that because now all of a sudden now there's only 4. You know what I mean? I think there's one of those things where it's very interesting to see, you know, because to me the Oscars have always been political. It's about performances to a certain degree. But as I'm telling you, lately, man, it's been about agenda-based things. And the Academy's feeling weird. The Golden Globes are coming under fire. You know what I mean? It's all these things, and it's all centered around race and sexuality and things like that.
Which is why, you know, award shows like the Image Awards are important. You know, some people say, "Oh, why do you need a Black award show?" Because people are putting in work, their blood, their sweat, their tears, they're writing, they're directing, they're, you know, some people putting all their money into these projects to be seen. They deserve to be recognized regardless. If you're not, we need to stop. People say this all the time, and I love this. We need to stop going into spaces where we're tolerated and go to places where we're celebrated. And hopefully the Image Awards will continue to build. And when a Beyonce is nominated, when, you know, people start coming and supporting that award show to, you know, give it the gravitas.
You know what's funny? I was talking to somebody the other day about this. They were younger than me, and I said, "You don't understand. We're talking 40 years ago. 40 years ago, MTV would not play Michael Jackson.
Yeah,
they would not play Prince.
Right.
Rick James was screaming at them, and it took Epic Records to go, we'll pull every single white artist if we don't play Michael Jackson's Billie Jean. Now, it's funny, we think about it now, that's the largest selling album in history. Michael Jackson's one of the largest artists in history.
Better believe it.
But just 40 years ago, and I had MTV, and they would not play a Black artist because they thought we don't know where to put them, and we don't know what's going on. It's like, and Prince was doing rock new wave music. It wasn't like he was doing the funky stuff we did later. He was actually playing their kind of music. I'm playing that.
We invented rock and roll. That's what kind of kills me.
Hello, that's the whole other story.
That's what that I don't even. Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
Lord have mercy, man. You gotta. Y'all don't have rock without Black folks. I don't want to. I was breaking no news.
Or country.
Oh, don't get me like I don't. I just want the music that people hold dear that they think is not ours. We invented it. And it's not even an opinion. It is historically factual.
Well, right.
All the music you try to keep, how you going to keep somebody out of something that they invented? That's crazy to me.
Adam?
Well, you were talking about Aquafina, right? And she's getting, heat for being, using a Black voice almost, right? And
everybody does it.
Right? But Pat Boone, you had Pat Boone literally whitewashing Black records, right? That's how he made his career. And I saw something during the pandemic where Pat Boone was trying to assert his place. I'm like, your whole career is a farce. You suck.
Max.
Yeah, you're taking Little Richard and you
one of the greatest of all time.
Right? But here's the thing though, with the MTV, when you think about it, geographically, it was going to the suburbs, right? Because that's the only people that could afford cable. We're in
I had a legal PO box in the ghetto.
Yeah. Oh, dun dun dun. But for folks, realistically, in what they now kind of quantify as urban, environments and what have you, we're dealing with a crack, epidemic. Really? We're going to worry about what we're listening to and what have you. Now, some of it gave birth to, modern day hip hop, right? The late 70s, early 80s, right? With the toasting and, equal parts Jamaica,
different form of expression. Yeah.
Parts just being tired of being marginalized
in
New York. And here we go, and now we're starting to see, obviously, there's the Beastie Boys. There was Kid Rock before he was rock. He was a hip hop guy, right? Vanilla Ice, and those are always going to be accepted, and not trying to diminish any of those artists or what have you. Eminem is a great lyricist and what have you. But one thing I'd like about Eminem, and it's going to be evidence this Sunday at the Super Bowl, because he's performing with essentially his forefathers of West Coast LA gangster rap, right? And that's a weird thing to think about, that in Inglewood, there's a multi-billion-dollar stadium, right? And Snoop Dogg, Mary J. Blige, Dr. Dre are going to be the halftime show. That's usually reserved for, the Rolling Stones and the Who and the what have you. This is completely different. And it's also shown how we've shifted, that nobody gives a damn about the Who.
Here's my problem, though. I'm going to say this. I watch the TV and shit. Sometimes they're all, so if I stay in LA. No, motherfuckers, it's Inglewood. It is an Inglewood property. It's around the corner from my house, right over here. It is in Inglewood city limits. It's on Prairie in Inglewood.
And it was Inglewood. It was Inglewood, and it was where Inglewood used to be Inglewood.
Thank you. But I'm saying they're trying. It's in South LA.
No, because they're gentrifying it now. So eventually it's going to. So it's like it's like I said, they usually build these stadiums in the hood. That's what they usually do.
Right,
you go to the hoods all over around the world, and they need a whole bunch of space. What do you think they're gonna do? They gonna knock over Beverly Hills?
No, of course not.
Now, why on earth would they do that? We're gonna knock over these projects. We're gonna knock over this hood. We're gonna put a couple Starbucks up here. This is what we're gonna do. And then we're gonna put the Clippers next to them. We're gonna do all this stuff, and then 30, 40 years later, there's gonna be a generation of kids wondering, like, what you talking about gang violence? What you talking about? So that's what we getting away from it, man. But I'm just thinking, I'm sure it's gonna be a lovely weekend, though.
But today, some white folks came to my house today saying, "You sure you don't want to sell your house?" No, I don't want to sell my house. I'm holding on to my house. I'll be the last black person on this block. Fuck you.
You better sell that house.
Nope. Where am I gonna go? Out in LA. I have a huge yard, beautiful.
You better flip that house.
I'm not going there. I'm too old for all that shit.
You're gonna last the last one standing.
So here is a fun fact moment, kids. So if you don't like strong language watching this, then mute your screen. Here we go. This album's called That Nigger's Crazy. Okay, let me give you a little history lesson.
Richard.
On That Nigger's Crazy. I'm saying the word, yes, because that's the title of the album. And 2 songs on it are called Nigger with a Seizure and Niggers versus the Police. This album went to #1 on the R&B album charts in 1974. That means the majority of black folks went out and got this album. It also went to #4 on the Pop 100 charts. Yes, a comedy album with this title in it went to #4 and went gold. I just want to tell you, I have this in my second bedroom up on my wall. Okay? My black friends who come over, I think it's very cool, not a problem. I've had 2 white friends get offended by it, by me having it on my wall in my black house next to my African-American art.
I believe
I count this as African-American arts in my house.
What did they say?
It's so offensive to have that in your, how could you have that? Because I know you guys don't like that word. And I'm like, it is a piece of history. It's a piece of history.
It definitely is.
And
because he can never do it again.
It can never happen again, right? But this is a piece of history that I'm proud of it. He's a brilliant, a brilliant comedian. And this album was a huge hit. And I thought, this is part of our history. And I'm a black person in my house. I can have this on my wall.
Oh, absolutely.
But I've been told I can't have it on my wall because if people come over, when you come into my house, you see my artwork. And this is part of my artwork. But that's how race talk even continues to. I go, we can talk about it. We can talk about why it makes you feel uncomfortable. We can talk about it.
I do like the fact that one thing I will say about that is that, I can remember a time where that wasn't the case, as far as not even about guilt, like some of my closest friends that closest white friends, they don't, you know what I mean? Like they're sensitive to the cause, you know what I mean? And there was parts of that in the 60s that helped us get to where we were, those people that were like in our corner. So there's part of me that's like, oh, that's kind of dope though, that they're sensitive, that makes them feel uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Because when I was living in Alabama, there's a group of people that don't make them feel, they cool with that. You know what I mean? So it does kind of warm my heart that you have friends that come over that actually feel some type of way. That's progress, James Lott Jr.
Go ahead, Roger.
But here's the thing. I feel like it is progress, and it's good to have people who are self-aware.
Yeah.
But I also feel like there's an overcorrectness that's kind of killing everything at the same time. As in, somebody mentioned the Oscars, the ratings went down and people were woke. Most of those people were white people that get on that stage and say that. It's
not last year. Taraji and it was. I'm just telling you what I know. Like, it was the lowest rated Oscars ever. You know what I mean? And it was because there was a lot of political agendas being taken there. I'm just saying. I'm just letting you know why. Like, I just think the audiences are getting a little exhausted from coming to watching an award show and then having to be preached at. That's my only opinion.
And that's the overcorrectness.
You think so?
I think so too. I think so a little bit too. I do agree.
You think that's overcorrect? You think so? Like, because what I'm trying to say is, like, I just believe there's a time and a place. And I'm saying, like, if you're choosing a time of respite for someone to chill and watch something, and they're not expecting to be preached at. They're not expecting to watch an award show with movies and stuff and having someone tell them that they should feel bad about being a white person. You know what I mean? Like that. I'm just letting people know why the ratings were low.
I'm saying, but that's the case throughout the 80, 90 years of the Oscars. When back in the 70s, when Vanessa Redgrave was saying they're Zionists and
I remember that. I watched clips of that.
And Jane Fonda. I mean, she was saying,
people still mad at Jane Fonda.
Still mad at her. So I know what you're saying, Evan, but also I'm with Walker in the sense that I think, like today, Adele's not being attacked because she says she's proud to be a woman in a business. How's that being? You're offending trans women. You're offending. I'm like, to me, it's becoming too much.
I agree.
There's faux outrage. There's real outrage.
Oh, facts.
Like we need to kind of focus on what the real problems are, in my opinion. So what you're saying is true. They started to tune out, like soaps. You have our soap thing. The crowd, the audiences aren't the same as they were anymore. We're not going to gain any new people watching soaps. It's whoever's left over. That's how I feel. And I say it all the time on my shows. I go, the networks don't give a shit about your soap operas. Sorry, folks. They don't care. So you can go on Twitter and yell about all this stuff. That's great and dandy. They don't give a shit. They don't. It's all about money and demographics and will it make the bigger line. They're not investing in soaps anymore. They're not. And so we're talking about black things on soaps. Sure, I speak out too, but they just don't really care. They just. I don't walk. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think they care that much. Really, to tell you the truth.
But to me, there's a lot going on, right? Just taking that Oscar kind of reference, at its head, right? Well, who watches award shows anyway, right? Because this is kind of the sign of the times. I remember, I think the last time was like early 2000s where people would actually have watch parties, for the Oscars and getting all dolled up and everything like that, right? That's in decline, but for a good reason, right? Because now everybody's being represented, right? If you're a Japanese anime fan, if you're a pro wrestling fan, if you love Adele, if you're, gay or transgender or what have you, like you have representation now. Versus, and you can just watch that versus like we don't have any seminal things. I think like maybe the Super Bowl would be the last vestige where everybody gets together.
I'm with you, brother. I'm wherever you're preaching right now. And I know what you're saying. Representation is the most important thing. It just is, man. And I think that people that are making strides and trying and fighting and creating their own voice and creating their own films and telling their own stories, I do believe they should deserve to be recognized at the highest level, with all due respect to other award shows. The Oscars is the cream of the crop. They watch it all around the world. So I want to see more representation at those award shows with not just my people, with ethnically diverse people and have them get their flowers. You know what I mean? Even if it's just a nomination, and I think that is important if it's framed with focusing on their work. You know what I mean? And not just because there's an Asian person we want to put on. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely. But here's the other thing, though, right? I think this was just kind of like cap and almost like a scapegoat, right? People were getting away from award shows anyway, right? Like if you're of a certain age, right, and you grew up here in North America, you reference that Life commercial. He likes it. He really likes it.
Mikey, he likes it. Yeah.
Right. I have a 14-year-old son. He doesn't have that. Like there are things that him and his friends know because him and his friends, they like certain things and they gravitate towards that thing. But a 14-year-old that lives in East LA versus somebody that lives in New Haven, Connecticut. They're not going to have that because of the representation. Why would I watch something that I'm not represented, where I can go and I have it literally in the palm of my hand to go to forums, content, podcasts, music that is structured to me. So I think with of course, like the overcorrection and wokeness, that might not work in Peoria, Illinois. And sometimes when you're in LA and the entertainment bubble, it is exactly that, right?
Oh, trust and believe.
Right. When people were like, oh my gosh, I can't believe Trump won. I was like, I was living in Central California in Bakersfield when Obama won. I absolutely believe that is, possible, right? So
I want to hear from Walker for a second. I just want to hear from him because we kind of started something. So Walker,
right. So I think the award shows are on a decline anyway, right? And it's just easy. Oh, let's blame it because everybody was pro-black, whatever. And also the fact that we just got over the like being in the house for so long, right? Like I don't think anybody was home. If you lived in a region where you didn't have to be home on a Sunday night whenever the Oscars was, you think
that's why? I disagree, but I hear you.
Okay, Adam, everybody, quiet. I want to hear from Walker for a second. I want to hear from him. Walker, please go ahead.
Okay, wait. The guy. Sorry, I can't remember his name.
Evan.
No, Adam. Adam was just talking. I agree exactly with you. I think maybe that played a little part, but there's so much more stuff to watch on TV.
Sure.
There's, award shows across the board have been going down because there's just so much content. And also people
on a Sunday night?
And people aren't watching like regular TV. Like now, like we're moving to like the streaming. Like who's going to be at home watching, back when the Oscars and when they were getting those huge numbers, there was 10 channels.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, there was nothing else. There was nothing else to do. And also, I think the choice of movies also played a factor, which is why the Academy wanted to make a category featuring the Hollywood blockbusters, because those are the movies that people watch and spend their money to go see to get eyeballs in. When it's a year that is bullshit movies and nobody's watching those movies, why the fuck do you care who won or who's nominated? But when it's a year that there's actually solid films that people are like, oh yeah, that was good. That was a good like mainstream film or whatever. When you picking, okay, art is art. Yeah. Congratulations on making art. But when you nominate these little hole in the wall movies that nobody's even heard of, and you expect people to turn in and watch, you can have Jesus in the damn movie. And if it's something I ain't never heard of, why do I care?
Exactly.
I said, I'm sure there's a percentage of y'all that's like that, but that's the award shows aren't for you then.
Well, I think I think here's the thing. I think we have now graduated onto it. We can't discount streaming. We can't discount all those services now. There is so much that regular viewing habits have changed now. Everybody binge. When I was trying to watch, I watched the Star Wars stuff on Disney Plus. It's hard for me to have to wait every week for a new Boba Fett show or a new Mandalorian. I'm now trained. I'm trained. Now I'm like, I can't just watch 5 episodes in a row. I just can't just watch it on.
I know.
And that's the thing. It's like, and now I think also with the pandemic, last couple of years, a lot of folks are not working. There's jobs everywhere. There are jobs. No one's taking them. They're choosing not to take them. There's tons of them. So they're at home. They're at home and they're watching their little tablets and their phones and they're streaming whenever they feel like it. They all got Rokus and Sling TV and all this. And I really do think that is changing the face of, we talked about award shows and soap operas and all this stuff. It's changing the face of that because people now have 10,000 shows that are being produced better. They're shorter episodes. They're shorter seasons. You could binge 3 seasons of a show nowadays. In the old days, you couldn't do 22 episodes and sit in one night. You could do 10 episodes in one night. Could you? You could, seriously. 10-half-hour episodes? I've done that before.
Yeah,
look, popcorn and chicken and whatever else I was eating in there. And all next thing I knew was the next day, I'm like, I watched the whole season or something.
Look at the broadcast numbers across the board. Broadcast is not doing anywhere. And I don't care if it's, This Is Us to whatever comedy that people love over on CBS, everything is down. Like everything is down. And in a few years, like they're going to have to, who knows if they're going to be existing. Because even they are invested in streaming. Everyone has a streaming platform now because that's where the viewers are going.
And let's not forget, because all of us are in this world, all four of us are in that world. Podcasts, we may make fun of it sometimes. That everybody has a podcast now. Some of our podcasts are doing very well.
Yeah,
people like listening. Audio's good. My Boba Fett after show does shitty numbers video. I get like maybe 20 or 30 views. Oh, but on audio, I get thousands. Why? I have no idea. But a lot of folks like podcasts now.
They do. It's interesting.
Yeah,
going cooking, going to work, like things
Right.
like that. It's easier just to listen and drive or listen,
Exactly.
when as opposed to looking at the screen. It's something that I really wasn't aware of. I know there's a market for it. I know they pay a lot of people a lot of money for it, but you know what I mean. But until you try to break down why, and it makes sense. I just listen to people. Oh, I like to I'll be in the car. My car rides an hour.
Yep.
My car rides 45 minutes. I'm cooking. I'm putting the baby down. Yada yada yada. I'm like, I can dig it.
Or working out. People work out, and they work out.
Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah, I'm working out. I'm doing this. Yeah.
My favorite podcasts nowadays. They are, and for some people it seems in places like LA or places like New York, Chicago, where you ride subways a lot. They have the headphones on, have the
That's
earbuds
another
in.
one. Boom, Subway.
And there you go. It used to be music all the time. You listen
Absolutely.
to. Now it's becoming the podcast or audiobooks. Audible is getting bigger. My audio dramas, they're getting bigger and bigger. They're starting to really hit now, where now I have to watch a screen and sit there for a dedicated an hour to this. I can stop it, start it, and you're not looking at anything. I think that's something also. I want to change the subject a little bit. That was good, you guys. That's good. But here's something that's also related kind of to it. I have noticed, I don't know if you guys noticed it also, that something becomes a big issue sometimes. It seems that Black folks have a different reaction. I'm gonna give you an example. Dave Chappelle. Let's mention this. That's about the elephant in the room. Dave Chappelle. Even Bill Cosby. Like I watched the what we got to talk about Bill Cosby.
I just finished it.
I did too. It's
Strong stuff.
Bro, I agree. I totally agree.
It was beautiful. It was beautifully done, by the way.
Oh, it's great. I totally agree with you. R. Kelly. I have Black friends who still have his songs in their rotation. They know he's horrible and everything. They still have rotation. Dave Chappelle. Was he bad, or was he just telling us? Was he telling a story? I mean, like I see that people are divided. All the way back to OJ. I remember my Black friends like, yeah, I'm glad he did it. Yeah, he probably did it, but I'm glad he got off. Like it's just because of the generational trauma we've gone through as people.
Right.
I'm seeing different reactions. So I want to know if you guys have noticed some of that too, or how you feel about that. I mean, I know Dave Chappelle was one big one for sure that people were like, they were really dividing on that one. Where a lot of Black was like, I still support him. I think he's still great, blah, blah, blah. It wasn't anything that bad. And I know Black gay folks who were saying that. They were saying he wasn't that bad. It wasn't that. So, I mean, there's a whole new. I have friends who say Chick-fil-A. They're like, fuck these white
kids. That's a great point. That's a great point.
They don't like us.
No, but that's a great point.
You're talking to me, James. You're talking. I see it.
Me too.
That's a great point, though. Because I guess that's how I gauge it, though, James. Is based on that, based on the group that's been marginalized. How do they react? How does the majority of the marginalized group react? I cannot be outraged if you're not, and it's you being affected. You know what I mean? Like we had a whole talk with this. Well, like if you were like the people in the gay community, and they're like, Evan, I eat Chick-fil-A every day. I'm like, should I stop being mad for y'all? Because y'all ain't mad. Y'all ain't mad. Like I'm over here literally not going to Chick-fil-A for the past 2 years. They're like, Evan, I eat there I go, wait a minute. So that's when I literally had a moment though. No, seriously, I had a moment where I was like, if you're not upset and you break it down to this degree, so I guess I go by that. With Chappelle, when I heard what was going on, like I said, comedians to me have this weird like force field, this weird autonomy they've always had. I know nowadays people are acting like that doesn't happen, but comedians said 10,000 times things worse just 15 years ago, 10 years ago. So comedians have always had this bubble to be that voice and talk about the things that were offensive, and they were protected. So I can't condemn Chappelle for his comments because he was saying it he's comedically saying it. You know what I mean? People have talked about 9/11 and they don't get canceled. You know what I mean? People have talked about 9/11 literally right after and they don't get canceled. So now Chappelle says something in a different time and I'm supposed to cancel. So it's hard for me to get involved when it comes to it's the majority of the group, the marginalized group. I can speak for being a black man. That's what I can speak of. I could try to relate to my mother, who's a black woman, and I talk to my mother about things happening to black women. I can do those things and empathize because I have empathy. But if you want me to protest, it has to be something that I truly think is abhorrent. You know what I mean? And I can't pretend to get that mad about what Chappelle said. I can't because it's fake. I don't want to be phony. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so I think it's interesting I think we get offended about a lot of things because we feel like we're supposed to get offended by them.
I want to give Adam a quick because Adam has to go soon. So Adam, why don't you give your last words on kind of that?
No, it's funny because to me, I'll kind of speak on, not that I would be speaking of Rogan, right? But that's been in the news, right? 90 seconds of him saying the N-word out of context, right? And somebody clipped that up and it's 4 years old. It's 4 years old. And these are the facts. But that is supposed to negate what, like 3-hour conversations with Dr. Cornel West. And, there's so much that has been done. And again, like in context, I think the most recent one of that 90-second clip that was uttered with the N-word, I think happened like at least 8 years ago. A world, I think we can all agree, was a different place 8 years ago. 8 months ago to now is a much different place, right? And almost saying like, oh, we're going to take this 90 seconds and negate all of this stuff. And again, the video has been up for 4 years. What's happened in 4 years? We went through a pandemic. He signed a $100 million Spotify deal. The ratings or all the network TV shows, right? Whether it be news or comedy or entertainment or whatever, they're down. I think I saw a report of one Rogan episode and he does 3 a week, is the equivalent of Taylor Swift essentially creating a hit record every week, 3 times a week. And that's what it means to Spotify. So it's just like, again, this overcorrection. Like we have to have context. We have to have difficult discussions, right, with each other. We almost want to say like, oh, are you okay with this or whatever? And I know it sounds so minuscule and mundane and what have you, but like if you really care about somebody, you want to know where their boundaries are and when they aren't, and I think that would be a healthy way to go about it. But we're fighting inflation, we're fighting like government, everything all at once. It's an everything bubble. Everything is about to blow, right? So with that all being said, how much are you willing to engage about the weird stuff? And then if you don't, that's cool too, but don't be surprised when you don't have a say. And that's weird when we're talking about representation, but
wow.
Yeah, I mean.
So Adam, tell Woods we have to go. Tell Woods we can find you. So they can find you.
According to Woods, across the board, the Principal Podcast, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. And then according to Woods on Instagram, where difficult conversations happen, but also people getting slammed on their heads. That's usually it. So you can find me there.
It sounds swell.
Awesome. I am proud of each and every one of you, brown skinned or not. But these 3 men, if you haven't followed them, I don't know why you wouldn't. They're doing amazing, amazing things, not just for our culture, but for everyone's culture. So tune in.
It means a lot, brother. Thank you.
Brother me softly. Brother me softly.
Brother me softly.
Never know. Thank you.
Take it easy, baby.
So we'll continue this part because he brings up Joe. We also bring up somebody brought up in the chat room, Whoopi Goldberg. Another one too. So I want to know what you think, Walker, because I'm with you. I'm one of those folks who's a militant, who I am, and I'm just like, I'm gonna go eat where I want to eat and do what I want to do until there's full equality for everybody. What are your thoughts on that?
I have 2 points. First, we can't tell people how to feel or how to react to something. And I think once we realize that would help. 2, we have to stop taking Twitter as the fucking real world.
Yes.
Microcosm of society, the smallest Twitter, portion of society.
There's no nuance. It's black and white, and life is gray. So a lot of the stuff people get all caught up on there, and I think that's a big problem.
100%.
It's not real life. Like it's not.
Right. And
that is the gospel truth.
All three of us have traveled the country, and I tell you, I'll go to parts of the country where they're not on Twitter, they're not on Facebook.
Oh, people don't understand. Oh, James, I had an argument with somebody. I go, Twitter has 100-some million users in the world.
Right.
So, and that's not even the people that have their accounts canceled or the accounts that they're not active on. So the world has billions of people. So what I'm trying to say is there are a lot of people that are not on Twitter.
They're on it. I tell you, some folks that go, just because you're screaming on Twitter doesn't mean that everybody, they'll say, we all believe this. No, I go somewhere else where they actually just watch the show.
Straight up.
They don't go to the magazines. They don't go online. They don't go to message boards. They don't even know what Reddit is. They don't even know any of that stuff.
Facts.
And they're regular folks. These not
they pay their bills just like everybody else, and they function in societies like everybody else. Exactly. And I tell people this all the time. And my only problem with social media is the companies have let people lose their jobs and their livelihoods because of it. Yeah. Now, the companies and people react and cancel people and take their livelihood away because of a hashtag. That's tough. That's tough for me to handle. I don't, with all due respect to people on Twitter, y'all should not have that much power. And they have been empowered. And that's why they act the way they do. The Twitter mob acts the way they do because they have gotten things done. And I think as soon as we stop reacting to them, when we start doing that, then they'll be like, oh my God, I said, I'm trying to get this guy canceled. Why is he not canceled? Because people stop listening to you. Do we start doing that? I'll be a happy man.
Walker,
I was caught up in some controversy a couple of weeks ago on Twitter.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We ran when Regina King's son Ian died. We were the first people who ran it on the website.
Wow.
And so again, there's no nuance. There's no black. They don't see the gray. I swear, I had thousands of people telling me to go to hell. Like, I had one tweet that had almost 200,000 impressions of just like,
oh my God.
Because people thought that we broke the news before the family. And it's just like, for one, like, that's disgusting. Like, I don't think there are sites that would do that. But to think that a black site would do that to another black person,
right?
Especially Queen Regina King,
right?
And it was just So that was, and the thing, we just left Twitter. We enjoyed our weekends. Came back Monday, and it was a little bit, but it died down. But yeah, it was,
as it always does, and they find the next thing. Next person they're trying to cancel.
Yeah.
Yes, Adam. You're back.
Well, the rumors of my demise have been greatly exaggerated. But with that all being said, here's a question to all three of you guys. Do you think that the issues that we struggle with, especially us as three, black males, right? Before three, including me, do you think any other, either race or gender type or identification do they have to worry about the same things in terms of cultural context? Walker, you were just talking about the Regina King thing, which is, that's been in the news as well, but do you think, like, I don't know what the Asian communities Regina King is, or the Latino communities, Latinx communities Regina King, do they have to worry about either the representation or how they're portrayed in media in their own communities, as we do?
Yeah, I have Hispanic friends that work in entertainment, and it's almost worse for them, and Asian, entertainers, that they don't get the respect. We fight for our parts, but their voices just aren't as loud as ours. But there are fewer movies centered and fewer roles available for people were mad over In the Heights, have you have a movie based in New York and in the Bronx and you don't have real Puerto Ricans,
Insane.
or you don't have real Black people.
Insane.
Like it's crazy.
It's what you're saying. To answer your question though, brother, it's the closest I get to that is just try to talk to different races and try to and ask them what they deal with and how they respond. You know, I had a couple interviews. To me, especially in entertainment, the most marginalized person is Asians. You know what I mean? We have busted our ass for years as Black people to get to a position of respect in this country for many things, and we're still fighting every day. And then you hear somebody like, you hear something like Asian males have like never been the leads in movies in Hollywood ever.
Wow.
When you hear something like that, you like, damn. When you hearing stories about Jet Li not being able to kiss Aaliyah and Romeo Must Die.
Wow.
And you hearing about they did 2 takes. They did the take where they hug, they did the take when they kiss. Somehow the take where they hug is the one that makes it. And you like things like that. And you're like, yo, okay, how do you feel about that? Oh, we're fighting our own battles here, there, and so far and so forth. Hispanic community. Oh, y'all love us when it comes to music. You know what I mean? But we're still fighting here, and there. So I just try to talk to different races and try to see how their experiences are in the countries that they are in. And they feel marginalized. I have not met a person of color unless they're like been rich their whole life. I've never met a person of color that's had some struggle that's like, yeah, I felt this kind of stuff. I felt this kind of way. And that's crazy. You know what I mean? Like they have a story or a conversation or something about them or their family that they've been through something that made them feel like less of an equal member of society.
Yes,
and that's interesting.
It is. I call it the Pain Olympics, because everybody has a level of which they feel theirs is. So there's your question, Adam. It's true. Everyone wants their piece of the pie. I mean, I'm quoting Jefferson's, but it's the truth. Everybody wants their piece of the pie. And the pie is cut certain ways by Hollywood. And I say the color in Hollywood is green. That's the color. So everything else drops after that. That's what I've seen all these years of my life. That if they think you'll make them money, and they'll make a Crazy Rich Asians. If they think you'll make money, they'll do a Slumdog Millionaire. They think that they'll do all of a sudden one season on TV, it was all South Asians on every show. You get one. I've said it for years. They always let one Black comedian through as a superstar.
100%.
You have Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy had Martin Lawrence. You have Kevin Hart was in every movie. Not hurting their hustle, not trying to make them feel bad, but I feel like they always let through a few that come through because they know they'll make them money. And I always feel like that's the number one thing. So once they stop saying that, and and all these little weird movies make money all of a sudden, oh, women can lead films? That's crazy. Or gays can film? That's crazy. It's like, we need to get rid of all of that, because anything can probably make money if you put the right machine behind it and like you said, I'm Puerto Rican also, and the whole thing is like, hello, there are Afro Latinos in New York.
No, that whole set, but your whole set, that's where they were set at. You know what I mean? He wasn't in Long Island. Like the place he was set is where they actually are.
Yeah. We didn't really think about it like that.
What you talking about?
I'm like, what? Like what? I wasn't born yesterday. I was born a long time ago. I see what's going on. I do. I see what's going on, and
they're right there. Just go down there right now.
But the thing is, I think all of us, if you're not white, then everybody else is othered. We're all othered. And that also includes genders. That includes orientations. That includes if you're all 3 combinations, or you're this, that, and that, and that includes the hard of hearing community. That includes the handicap community, or whatever words they use these days. We're all othered. That's kind of the problem, and we're all wanting that piece. And like Walker said, there are some who just their voices are muted. They are literally muted. Like, yes, that's but we're loud, so of course we're out there pushing. And then Latinos are trying, and Asians. There's some other communities that they're getting. Zero play, very little. We have friends like our friend Hamza Shah Khan, who we love to death. who he's another one who's like trying to fight for Middle Easterners.
That's another marginalized
You
group.
don't play a terrorist in every movie. Like it's something that's stupid. It's just dumb. You can't have leads of any race. That's why I give folks like Shonda Rhimes on them. They make fun of their shows and make their whatever. But at least she was like mixing things up. Just because, like, why not? She had casting that was all across the board, behind and in front of the camera, behind the camera. That I mean, Tyler Perry said you wonder about him. But he's employing black folks. And see, for me, I'm an older black man, and he's employing older black people in his stuff. Talk what you say what you want about anything else about his movies and call it Chitlin Circuit, whatever, doesn't matter. He is hiring people that are actually getting work who no one else is hiring.
In front and behind the cameras.
It's I can because I know the trepidations and the thought processes on him. He has this. I get the criticism, but two things can be true though.
I told you and that's something that Walker alluded to earlier. We have to learn how things are gray. You can have two complete statements about somebody, and they both be true.
100%.
And that kind of goes back to the R. Kelly and Bill Cosby.
Right?
Can you enjoy the art, but understand that the person is a monster?
I draw the line with those two gentlemen, but I see what you're saying now. That's why I draw the line with Cosby and R. Kelly.
To me, I can see.
God bless you, brother.
I can too, actually, on some level. I can.
Please explain.
Because here's the thing, and you watched the documentary I did with Bill Cosby.
It's strong, man.
He did so much.
Oh, he's one of the four pillars of black culture in America.
Right. So
I stand by that.
And also, like you say, Michael Jackson. When I stood by him though. All those allegations, which of course none have been proven to be true, folks. Two people to this day still think he's guilty. Nothing was proven. I stood by him in his music. Here's the thing, and then Prince died of drugs. Here's the thing, folks. Again, when it comes to artistry and talented people, that is something that's right here. You can be the most talented person on earth, do good on that area. But then there's this area over here with personal demons and bad stuff can still happen. James Brown beat his women. Ray Charles beat his women. They all did things. Ike Turner was the one they say actually started rock and roll. They say, and actually it wasn't Bill Haley in the comments. It was him in Rocket 88. He beat the shit out of Tina, right? Yeah. But that song, and if it started a whole movement, it's hard to get rid of that. I feel like it's part of the complicated history of our artists. That's why the same thing. He was popular I remember him in the Hertz commercials and making gun movies. He was the most affable black man in the world. I think he killed them. I think he totally killed them.
Yeah, I said, that's just me. I'm just separate from that. I can't. There's enough artists out there that don't do bad stuff that I can rock with. I'm good with Bill Cosby. What he did was great, fine. But at the end of the day, he sexually assaulted women for more than 4 decades, and R. Kelly was doing the same thing. So, like I said, as a black man, I don't gotta rock with them. I'm good. I sleep well on that. But like I said, and it doesn't take away from what they did for black people. But at the same time, I cannot compartmentalize that kind of stuff. That's crazy to me.
I can, because I know a lot of shit, and a lot of these people y'all are out here. This is my icon. Y'all gotta be careful about who y'all put on these pedestals, because y'all, not obviously. As a community, y'all don't know what these people are doing behind the scenes. Like, I can tell you, you can tell me your favorite person. I can probably tell you something scandalous that they've done that you would be like, oh, you just gotta be careful about that stuff. And I think that's on the whole thing on Twitter. People act like everyone's perfect. I've never made a mistake in let me just clear. I am not taking up for anyone who's done any kind of activities.
Right.
Like disgusting. But there's a lot of people, as soon as someone does something, Dave Chappelle, oh, he's a terrible human being. He's Joe Rogan, I mean, if you, I don't pull out the Bible much, but those who have cast the stone in the house and the windows and the glass and all that stuff.
Well, I can for sure throw a stone at Bill Cosby and R. Kelly. I'm good.
Oh, That, but yes.
Those are the two brothers I can throw a stone at. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm there's, with all due respect, they can dig all the bodies buried in my country. It will never amount to that foolishness. It just won't do it. Not those two brothers, man. They have because I can make the case as much as they've done for brothers, as much as they've hurt brothers. You know what I mean? I can make the case. They've almost evened out their bad with their good. You know what I mean? It's just, I gotta draw the line of Bill, man. I just got to.
Yeah.
I'm fresh off this documentary too, man. And you watch that documentary, boy, Lord Jesus.
Yeah, and shout out to W. Kamau Bell. Dude.
He knocked it out the park because he knocked it out the park because he did it. He gave him his due and gave the context. 4 hours of context, 4 hours of both sides, 4 hours of history, 4 hours of flowers, 4 hours. It is masterfully done.
You know, I'll tell you. So my fans know I'm very open with what's happened to me in my life. I always share what's going on, and so I'll just say this. I had a lot of therapy too, so I want to preface that.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. I'm just going to say, as I've gotten older, and my own personal life, I'm a survivor of sexual assault, violent sexual attack. I'm a survivor of many other things.
Wow.
And I had a parent who wasn't the greatest parent on earth, but through therapy and through looking at the world with broader eyes, I have found I found for me a place where I can actually see some things that my father did that was good for me. And that took me 40 years. I mean, it took me a long time.
Incredible.
I'm saying, and I would never tell anybody here or anybody again. We should know how to think. That's what Walker said. We should not tell anybody how to think. Everyone thinks that way. I support you. That's fine. I get it. But still, for me, that I've actually why I can compartmentalize sometimes. I have learned that people are just many different things, and I know for me, even though I haven't done those things, I've never assaulted anybody. I know that some folks, they do. They get assaulted, they assault. The oppressors get oppressed, they oppress other people. And I see that happens all the time. And I just see a lot of brokenness. I go deeper. I see a lot of hurt.
And trauma.
That's out there. Not excusing, my rapist raped me. And he violently raped me. I am not excusing him for that. But when I started hearing about his upbringing and his fashion, started hearing things, I was like, there was a road that was happening, and we collided. It was not my fault, and it was all his fault. But somehow we collided. And with Bill Cosby, there's something that's wrong with him. There's something wrong with R. Kelly, with all of them. There's something. A lot of these black men. It's a lot of these black men.
Interesting.
That, again, are highly talented, intelligent, but there's this personal life thing that we can go backwards and backwards in time. So I've learned to kind of look at, I'm looking at things in a larger generational picture. Again, not excusing what they did. They did it. But for my own sanity, I'm kind of go, okay, I'm seeing that there's just the world's complex and people are complex and it's crazy. But I do, again, like Walker said, I would never tell everybody, you gotta watch the Cosby Show. No, if that's your line, I totally get it. I'm like, I respect it. I respect it. I do respect it. But I'm just saying, why we're able to do this. I can't watch Seinfeld anymore. They're talking about picking certain lines because of Michael Richards. And this whole rant.
But you can watch Cosby?
I can.
That's ludicrous.
Yeah. Cosby and Different World, all those.
James, that's ludicrous, bruh.
I'm not giving up a different world. I'm not giving up a different world.
I'm not giving up those. I'm not giving those out.
Guys, that's just black shit then. I mean, that's not honest then.
It is honest.
That's my favorite show.
It's not. With Michael Richards did, it's not even close to what Bill Cosby did. Not even close what he did to those black women.
Here we go. We're not talking about the Pain Olympics. See, that's the whole thing. I'm just
saying. What are we talking about? I'm saying you can't watch Seinfeld because of Michael Richards?
For me, I can't.
Get the fuck. Come on, man.
And I don't care who. And again, it goes back to the whole thing of Chick-fil-A. It goes back to all that stuff. It's not about the Pain Olympics. It's about what you said. What your threshold is for something.
That's a hell of a threshold that you're willing to do.
And I'm not comparing. Those are apples. No, I'm not comparing.
If you say so.
I'm not comparing. I know me fully. Trust me. I'm not comparing Cosby to Michael Richards or Cosby to R. Kelly. I'm not comparing. I'm just saying that certain things for me, I can't watch certain things for certain.
Blowing my mind right now, brother. Blowing my mind.
Well, I mean, for me with the Cosby deal, like I was in a household where Cosby didn't represent me. Like, you know,
Interesting. That's interesting.
He wasn't a hero of mine, right? I mean, did I watch certain things that he was in or what have you? You know, but like there wasn't any of those. Like I watched A Different World, which is a spinoff,
It
more
is.
because I related to those characters even as a youth, as an elementary age kid, more than I did the Cosby Show. Because like I didn't know, oh wait, parents staying together, because my mom from a South Pacific island, right? Was always kind of goading my dad, hey, do better. And if you don't, I'm gonna divorce you and marry a white guy like my cousins and live on the good side of town. That's what I heard. Or my dad saying, oh, your mom only married me because of because she wanted to stay in the country. So those themes weren't in the Cosby Show. An affluent upper middle class, if not upper class, deal that own their own houses, and like that was foreign to me, and especially during the time. I mean, I was living in Northern California in San Rafael, and it was Vietnamese,
wow,
a lot of Latino, right? The El Salvadorian, Mexican, what have you, Eastern Indians. So we didn't, and a lot of them, a lot of us, we're living like maybe 8 families to, I'm talking like families into the double digits, 8 to 10 people in a studio apartment, right? So Cosby was not it. So then you find out all of this stuff. And if you're a fan of comedy, right, which, a lot of people who like Cosby, I would assume that they are, but it's not right to assume, I know it. But, if you're a fan of comedy, think about how he treated his fellow comedians, right? Always negated them,
To me, that's my biggest problem with Bill right there.
Right.
How he's held his own people back.
Right. And then when you go from that, you hear Adam Sandler's take on it, you hear Chris Rock's take on it, and a litany of others, right? And then also, if you follow the comedy, right, you would hear in pop culture, whether it be, I mean, reverberating back to Johnny Carson, to Jay Leno, to Dave Letterman, Jimmy Kimmel, in and around comedy circuits from here in Southern California all the way to Bangor, Maine, about Cosby stories. And everybody kind of knew, if you could pretty much 3 degrees of separation, somebody that knew a Cosby story. So like that is my reason for it. He didn't represent me. It's no skin off my back because he didn't represent me. And also what I feel like what he did was deplorable. I wouldn't want that to happen to my sister, my wife, my daughter, right? That's the thing that as a male, I try to prevent, So like, fuck Cosby. I got no qualms about it. But I feel for people that he was an influence, a positive influence on, and having your world shattered. Like we've all been there where Evan, you've got the Urkel, talking deal. I had a bad run-in with Jaleel White, like when I was 7. I'm like, fuck Urkel, right? Then
I
never thought I'd hear anybody say that.
I say fuck Urkel. Okay.
And then my cousin, who was actually working on Dancing with the Stars, the season that he was on, everybody had horrible fucking things to say about.
Well, see, that's what Walker was just saying. That's what Walker was just saying earlier.
If I heard something like the 2 things, right? Fucking OJ murdered, right? If Jaleel White murdered or raped, I'd be like, yeah, fucking get off. Like he doesn't represent me.
That's all I'm saying.
Well, see, here's the problem. Here's the problem. Here's the larger picture. If you did, just say they turned the lights on and they eliminated everybody you like. I'm just saying. I'm not saying that you're right or wrong. I'm just saying we would watch nobody. We would listen to no music. We'd watch nobody. We'd be very shy. When Jada Pinkett Smith came out that she was sleeping with August Alsina or whatever, everybody like, oh my, open it. Like, it was like, man, like, I heard for years about those, about all kinds of stuff. I'm reading this book right now. There's all kinds of stuff going on in Southern California. I have friends who are part of it, and I've seen myself. I would say it's just one of those things where Just that I have friends who think the Real Housewives, the Atlanta Housewives are just a minstrel show. They just think there's such a horrible thing how to show black women and something. And again with Tyler Perry. I mean, talk about somebody who's very polarizing, of course. And we already know about all the things about his stuff that he puts out. I mean, like it's just all
and he puts out good stuff too. So I got to give him his flowers. You know,
but I know folks who think he puts out nothing good.
That's just because they don't watch some of his dramatic. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I mean? Like Acrimony is damn good. You know,
or they hate Spike Lee because he puts too much stuff in his movies. Sometimes they don't like his stuff. And Spike has done stuff that was non-racial. He's had movies that were non-racial.
Oh my God, yeah, man. What's it called? Inside Man. Man.
But no one talks about that, right? No one says that. So I'm saying it's really interesting. I'm glad it got heated on it. I love it. I mean, that's the whole point is that black folks are not a monolith, number one, anyway. And I think that's the thing. People, we're just not. I mean, and because I have friends who tell me, also, here's something. I know several of you have wives of other races. I was told that you can't be pro-black and marry somebody outside your race. I was told that the other day, and I've heard that too, you know, and I've always, like I said, whoever you marry is whoever you marry, because when it comes to marriage, to me is a different thing, because this is when we get caught up in this whole thing about race, and this is where I part ways with militant people that think you got to marry your own kind, and that's fine, but my wife is she's like my best friend though. Like a lot of people can't say that. A lot of people can say they married a black person because they're black, and that's cool, but I can say I married my best friend. You know, my best friend just happens to not be black. With all due respect, she has been the one that's been with me since I was 15. She's been the one she's seen, and she's Filipino. They're the blackest Asians in the world. Filipinos, man, it's crazy. They sing well. They drink Hennessy. They all live in the hood. They all cook well. They like fried food. Like what the hell y'all want from me? But you know what I'm trying.
Y'all been to Jollibee?
Jollibee slaps. No, but like what I'm trying to say is like marriage is different to me. Now, when you marry who you want to marry, you marry because I'm telling you, marriage is a different. For the people that out there that ain't married,
Evan, they would say to you. I love your wife. I love homegirl. She's in the chat. I love her. I was saying they would say to you though, but what about your black queens?
They have said it. They have said it. And you know what I say? My black queen is named Teresa Mack. She helped birth me.
Okay, go on, girl.
That's my black queen. My black queen is my black queen is my mother. That's what I always would say, because she is. And to me, we all have different definition of what it means to be black. Being black means knowing your history, knowing your culture, not wearing your pants half off your ass. Not saying the N-word every time you talk to some black people. Being black is knowing your culture. If you know your culture, can't nobody tell you nothing, because if anybody sees me out in the street and they want to shoot me, a cop wants to shoot me, they don't care if my wife's white or black. They will shoot me. I can't say, but wait, I have white friends and they'll shoot me anyway. Because when I walk out the house black, period. I am 6'5" black dude. No matter what anyone, before they even hear me open my mouth or see me at all, they see that that's a black dude and they're threatened. So we don't even get to who I'm married, who my friends are, what I've done, where I've lived. They don't even care about that. If they want to bust a cap in my ass, they'll bust a cap in my ass.
Facts.
So I said, when it comes to marriage, I tell people this all the time, man, because I know a lot of people with a lot of marriages that have not worked out. And we're still here. And the reason why we're still here is because it ain't about race. It's about, we watch the same TV shows. We like the same food. We travel the same places. I'm telling people, man, you get caught up in race and what a girl's butt or whatever the hell y'all get caught up in. I'm here to tell you, you'll be one of the long list of people that I know that are looking for other people. I have way too many people that got a divorce on that I know my Rolodex, and that's crazy. You know why? Because they ain't married a homie. You better marry your best friend, man.
Okay.
Because I'm terrible.
You just said Rolodex, so okay.
I'm
like, you just said Rolodex. I'm like, Rolodex.
I couldn't think of anything else besides Rolodex, yeah.
I had a Rolodex back in the day. I had a Rolodex.
I never even had a Rolodex. I'm just trying to give people visual imagery.
Walker, I'm sorry, I want to hear from Walker, but because in the gay community we have that problem too.
I'm not married, and it's none of my business what anybody else does. See, that's
facts.
I don't care. I care so little about what other people are doing. That doesn't bother. Like, It doesn't affect me.
Right?
Yeah, not at all. Yup.
Do you?
Yup.
You don't like something? That's your choice. I don't like something. That's my choice. Like,
Sounds pretty cut and dry. If
it's
only
very.
people live like
It should
that.
be.
It should be.
It should be, but it's not.
If people live like that, like the way your philosophy is, the world would be a better place. The old live and let live thing. It sounds very simple. It sounds very simple.
It really does sound simple, right? Like you think, can't we just let Black folks have equal opportunities? Let's have people do it. For some reason,
That's all I care about. That's all I care about.
But no, now we're burning books. Now we're doing this. Now we're doing something. It's like there's always stuff like we can't just have books. We can't have just regular music. We can't have TV show. We can't. I don't understand why everybody's in everybody's business. Everybody's in everybody's business. That's what's going on. And so now these outrages are happening, and now laws are being passed, and now things are being overturned.
Disgusting.
That for years, no problem, nobody. But all of a sudden now, someone decides they want to look into your bedroom window, or look into your uterus, or look into who you're married. You know, just remember this: interracial marriage was not legal when my parents got married. I was letting you know that my grandparents got married. It was not legal. So
incredible stuff.
I'm saying, they had to go somewhere else to get married. You know what I mean? Like it's things like that. Just think about that. And that's in my lifetime. You know, so I always tell people, be careful who to go after because your group could be next.
Facts.
It's true. Your
It's
group
real talk.
It can be, and it's so crazy. So I mean, I just think and that goes to the Black agenda, it goes to the gay agenda, it goes to every agenda. We should all be supportive of each other, just because who cares? Because they go after you, they're done with you, then you're next. They're done with you.
Who else we got? What other marginalized group we got to take out?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. All the other groups. It's a line. So, but I'm a little militant in the way that Marcus said something earlier that I kind of agree with. And I agree with him in many ways. I got a lot of trouble 2 years ago during the whole Black Lives Matter. I said, stop waiting for white folks to save you. I made that statement on a show, and they have to ask me why I said that. I go, because we're trying to get into these spaces, like Walker said earlier, that we're just not wanted. So in many ways, create our own. Let's do it ourselves and do it just as well or better. We do culture better. We do music better. We do dancing better. All these things that they've appropriated from our culture, from ourselves. Everything, our lips, our ass, our nose, everything has come from us. We know how to do this. And I got trouble for it from people. They're like, well, I'm saying, no, I said, I'll work with white folks who want to work with me. But if you're sitting there trying to get them to change their mind and get out of, and let go of the power, that ain't going to happen. Not in my lifetime, not going to happen. I mean, literally, it's not going to happen. And some of these folks are old as the hills, and they're holding on as long as they can. And they have people who are following them and holding on with them. You know, so I'm just saying, for me, when the whole thing went down with the presidential, so I go, so my three choices are three old white guys. Really, that's my choices. Bernie, Biden, and Trump. Those are so three old white guys. That's our choice. Really, I was completely disappointed at that. I mean, it's just like I should have other choices. Those three, and pick the lesser of the three evils or whatever. Like it's like. To me, that's not how life should be. That's just not how life should be. We should have more diverse choice.
You're making a bold
So
statement.
when are you running for office, James?
I got too many. I can't throw no clay. I got too many skeletons. Like, as Walker was saying, I get in trouble. I'm sure somebody has something on me. But luckily, half my stuff was before social media. I'm that old.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's good. That's good.
But I'm sure like some Polaroid somewhere. I'm sure I would not be surprised. So James Lott Jr. can't run for the office at all. Can't do that. Not any time. Do that. But I just think it's something that it's just gonna be an ongoing conversation. I would continue having these conversations, and because it's half the battle, right? It's just talking and people's views on stuff. We don't have to get along or have to agree, disagree, but I think we have to agree that there's many sides to everything, and you should do you. And you should do you, definitely. And that Black folks are not all the same. Do not lump us into one swath of what we all are.
We've all been in different places, different experiences, different areas.
And see our colors. Don't say you don't see our color. Don't say I don't see colors.
That's strong. That's strong stuff right there.
Because we're beautiful. I'm look it up. We're all beautiful. You got all three of you guys are beautiful. We're beautiful people.
Thanks, James Lott Jr.
That's for real. That's it. That's why my hair's natural. I'm wearing dashiki tonight. Black. Like, screw all y'all. That's right. Yes. Well, thank you guys for coming on, of course. We'll start with Adam Woods. You already gave yours. You already know where you're from. So
exactly.
So Walker
Came back, man. He came back, baby. I appreciate it. That was great. That was a pleasant surprise.
Brother, be softly. Okay, go ahead, Walker.
What are we doing?
Yeah, lovebscott.com.
Oh, you know what? You know I don't like people following me, so
yes.
Like, don't follow me
because I don't want to hear no bullshit. Because you will get cussed out.
Don't listen. How about, you know what? Follow me at don't follow me.
There you go.
So go to his web. Go to the website where he works for and check out their stuff. That's good. Okay. And well, Evan T. Mack, please do all your thing. Please.
Yeah, man. At Evan T. Mack, follow your boy Instagram, Twitter. You know, let's rap. Let's talk, man. We can just. I'm here, man. Look, don't be trying to use. I ain't gonna be on Twitter. You ain't Twitter getting canceled or nothing like that. Man. All I talk about is cookies and chicken and movies, man. And that's it. That's all I talk about. Me trying to get me all. Me trying to. I like doing it on like this platform. We can talk about it on this platform.
Yeah.
You ain't gotta talk about none of this foolishness, especially when y'all don't know what the hell y'all talking about.
Yeah, you can all
at Evan T. Mack, man. Please talk to me. If y'all got takes, please have real takes, man, about sports and stuff. I'm saying stuff y'all don't know about nothing about. Oh, have mercy, man. Really, these young people, all you want to do is hot takes. Like, well, like with no context, just hot takes, just saying stuff. You know, I don't know, James Lott, man. I just want some cookies. Right now, man.
You know, I want cookies too. I want some cookies. And I want to lay down. I want some Real Housewives.
I just want cookies.
Yes, exactly. That's what I want to do. Well, you can follow me. We're all James Lott Jr. Sorry, James Lott Jr. Also media platforms. JLJ Media is my online network. That's right, kids.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
45 shows.
That's too many damn shows, man.
I know it's crazy. So I don't know how I do it. And I got all these people. I'm collecting people with me. And my audio dramas are out too. Go ahead and check those out wherever you go to any audio system. It's written by a black man, written, directed, produced by a black man. So, and my casts are very diverse. You may not be able to see them if you hear them. Adam is one of the people who's in one of them, a couple of them. So he's there too. And also my music. I have a new album out called Surprise. It's out right now on SoundCloud for free. So you can go ahead and go download it. It's 7 songs that I wrote in 2 days. So go ahead and check that out. My music there. I have books on Amazon. So go to Amazon, check out some books. Support Black business, support Black content creators. Even if it's just a like on a page, or sharing with somebody who thinks we need to hear this. It's very important, folks. And support the arts. And the arts are very important. The arts are very, very important. I have grandkids who are in the arts, and it's helping them with their work, their schoolwork, their life, their livelihood. Support that. So thank you very much, everybody, for watching.